A Jewish man protested outside the chambers of the Supreme Court, threatening Justices Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. Now he claims that he wasn't threatening them, although his words were. We have to go ahead and evaluate, why is it that among those who promote abortion on demand, many of them are Jewish? And the answer is that the religion of many Jews has changed from the religion of the Torah to the religion of the Democratic platform. And one of the principles of the Democratic platform is the permissibility of abortion at all stages of pregnancy. I'm not going to go into the morality or the evil of that position. I'm merely going to go ahead and talk about the history of abortion worldwide. According to Jewish tradition, abortion is the equivalent of infanticide, and until the Torah was given, it was a capital offense, a capital sin, for which a doctor or an individual would be killed. When the Torah came on the scene, the principles of life and the status of life changed in Jewish law, and the idea of a nefesh, a soul, is only attributed to that which is viable and has begun to breathe. A fetus that has not breathed yet, has not come out yet, is not yet a soul. It is a potential soul. And being a potential soul, there are various stages and various levels at which this is treated in Jewish law. Clearly, it is not a good idea to abort, because even if it's not really murder in Jewish law, it is a partial life. For example, you're not allowed to kill a person on life support. Well, the fetus is also on life support. He breathes the oxygen of his mother, and he receives his food via in vitro, not in vitro, through his veins, through the placenta, through his umbilical cord. The nutrition that goes into his mother goes into the fetus, and it's very much like a person who was given nutrition intravenously. So a fetus can be likened to a person on life support. But of course, a person on life support already has the status of a living thing. The fetus doesn't have the status of a living thing. So it's not murder, but it's definitely killing. Why do I trouble you with these standards, with these ideas? The answer is, we are at a crossroads. The world has the ability to save lives in an incredible way that wasn't able to be done before. Medically, we can keep a person alive almost ad infinitum with breathing machines, with nutrition going intravenously, and so on and so forth. And the question is, are we obligated to do so, and under what circumstances? And then the medical advances that we've had over the last 2-3 centuries have raised the life expectancy of a person today. Many people who reach middle age, or most people who reach middle age, will see the late 80s, perhaps the early 90s. And after my lifetime, people will live on average to at least 100. This is because of the advances in medicine and nutrition. So from one point, we are expanding life. However, in the area of abortion, we are limiting and curtailing life. So let me tell you that the standards of the Torah are eternal, and life is something that we all have a right to, unless our life impedes another life. Unless the life of the fetus is a danger to the life of the mother, we are prohibited from curtailing that fetus's life. Even when the fetus is considered a danger to the mother, we don't curtail the fetus's life till the fetus begins to emerge, when the danger actually takes place. Prior to that, we hope that things will improve and that the fetus can be born normally. And that seems to be the standard accepted opinion of Rabbi Feinstein and others, and this is the standard by which I have led my life. So the question is, what about incest? What about rape? What about where the child is sick? There are clear indications that abortion is permitted until 40 days. After 40 days, I don't understand the reasoning for permitting abortion. There are those who say that a fetus is considered part of the woman, part of the mother, and as such the prohibition is against wounding. And so just like you're allowed to go ahead and wound the person in using surgery for the benefit of the person, so too you're allowed to abort for the benefit of the person, psychologically or otherwise. However, I know of no rabbinic authority that would permit abortion past the first trimester. And so therefore, in those cases where there was rape or incest, or there were concerns about the viability of the baby, the most lenient opinion would be to allow abortion within the first trimester. Most opinions would oppose that and say that only till 40 days is this permitted. This may seem to be reactionary and people who do not understand the nature of women. However, clearly there must be a standard, and clearly one has to be concerned about the value of life. And let me then put this into context. The Holocaust did not begin in earnest till after the beginning of World War II. Prior to the conference where it was determined the final solution would take place in 1942, there were the Einsatzgruppen. There was the SS coming and murdering Jews well before Jews were gassed in concentration camps. But the Holocaust really didn't start then. It started in 1935 or 36, when the Germans started killing children. When the Germans started killing the children who were retarded, the children who had severe emotional problems, and other such people who were deemed as Untermenschen, subhumans, when they began killing those children and those people, that's when the Holocaust really began. When a nation has no care for the life of its own citizenry, that nation has no caring for the lives of other people's citizens. When Islamic countries say that they venerate death and wish to see martyrs kill themselves, killing others, what they're saying, they have really no respect for the life of their people. Therefore, for sure, they have no respect for the lives of others. In fact, they celebrate the death of children. The death of children is celebrated with music and candies and so on and so forth, all throughout those horrific regimes. So the value of life, the value of others' lives, depends upon how you treat the lives of your own citizenry. So, big deal. I've decided that a child is not a child unless loved by the mother. And therefore, even if there's an abortion and the child is out, we don't have to keep it alive because it's not a real child. This exists in the state of Virginia. The state of New York has championed the murder of children in the last trimester, children who would ordinarily be saved through modern medicine. What is the direct result of this attitude? The direct result of this attitude is, if you don't care about your own child, if you, the mother, have no compassion for the child that is living within you, you will not have any compassion for other people's children. Those who support abortion will have no compunction about the deaths of others. Oh yeah, they will oppose the death penalty, symbolically, because those who don't have compassion for those who are deserving will have compassion for the undeserving. Those who have compassion for killers will not have compassion for the victims. What happens then is a breakdown of the values of a society. Now there is another element to this, the intervention of God. We have before us a very dangerous plague. You call it the coronavirus, but it's very dangerous. It may not be as dangerous as SARS, but it is more long-lasting and has killed more people than SARS, many more people than SARS. The number of dead is about 3.4%, mostly people who are older. But this is a universal plague. It started in China. People accuse the Chinese of eating animals that are infected. I'm not going to do that. People need to survive, and as such, eat whatever they can to survive. In my opinion, the reason why it started in China is because the Chinese, for many years, have promoted infanticide and abortion for the entire population. Women were only allowed to have one child. If they got pregnant, they had to abort it. And I'm certain that if they had a child that they weren't aware of, that child was killed. So because spiritually there were so many abortions, so many deaths of innocent children in China, that's the reason why the plague started there. I'm not saying that the people who got sick are deserving of that because they did abortions. Then it should have started with Qi and with the entire Chinese apparatchiks. The reason why the plague starts in a country is because of the standards of that country that have been violated. They have violated the sanctity of life. Hence, the plague comes from there. Where will the medicine, where will the cure come from? And the answer is it will probably come from a place where they care about life. The life is protected. There are three great places where a corona vaccine seems to have begun to be developed: Great Britain, the United States, and Israel. Israel's number of abortions are less, considerably less than those of England and those of the United States. They're too many as far as I'm concerned, but Israel does have a standard which, by relative to other nations, shows concern not just for the unborn, but shows compassion for life itself. And that is why, despite having a tiny sliver of the dollars needed for research, Israel is at the cutting edge of developing a vaccine for coronavirus and a cure for cancer. And I know that there are other countries on the cusp of this discovery. But long before any kind of announcement that was recently made by Great Britain about a possible cancer cure, Israel announced that within this year they will have not just a cure for a specific cancer, but a cure for all cancers, based upon their research. And the reason why this is happening from this small country, my country, I mean, my country in spirit, my country at this point is the United States. My allegiance is to the United States. But Israel is the aspiration of all Jewish people. We hope when Messiah comes to go there. And in the meantime, it is one of the most progressive states in the defense of life. Hence, the protection of life is coming from there. You will see in the future plagues of this sort will come from those places which has the least amount of protection for the lives of others, including unborn fetuses, because they deserve to be alive.